having what at the time of learning what the committal was. Um, we talk when we talk to you at a meeting like this. Sometimes we talk to. We have to always talk to the ones who are having the most difficulty with the task of whatever we're talking about. Do you follow that? So when we talk to them, it doesn't. Don't assume that we're talking to everybody. In other words, we don't want to feel like we have to say this applies to a few of you and not to some of you. But we do. You should understand that we're always talking to the things that we're aware of that some are dealing with. Even though it might be one, we will still talk to all of you. Many times we feel that we're instructed to do that, to talk to all of you about the things that maybe even one person is dealing with. Now, on the committal, I remember T saying that if I were you, I would reestablish that feeling of that committal daily. And yet I can't believe, or we can't believe, that some of you are doing it. That you probably thought it was a good idea when you heard it. It sounded really good in theory and a real super thing to do. But you didn't make a plan. You didn't go to the trouble to actually do it yourself. Whether it meant write it down in links and be sure that you felt it, and whether it meant doing it once a day or 3 times a day or 10 times a day. But from some of the notes that we've got, we can tell that some of you feel like now that, because the way you express yourself, you say that now that Ray is not here, I have slipped in this area or that, and Ernest, I can't believe that I have. And you've got to get beyond that. You've got to get where you can't back into that. You can't fall back into that. Well, let me use a personal example for a moment of our awakening. Took place in the battle between our minds and our vehicles, when just out of the blue, in a matter of a few days from the time that we were deciding that, or when, well, it was about a month or two after we met for the first time, after these vehicles met for the first time, within a month or two, we knew we had to do something together that was going to be our primary effort, like all day. And within a few weeks after that, we took the instruction that said we had to be under one roof, and like the boxing man, 24 hours a day, doing only this task. And yet we didn't even know what we were doing. Now, the reason I'm bringing it up is because you can imagine the rebellion that our vehicles had for such a thing. And how if we had let our vehicles, even though there was a period of time when we didn't have enough control of our vehicles to keep from causing the other one a lot of difficulty. But very, very quickly we had to get enough control of that so that we were on our task all day, all night, and not having to deal with the ups and downs of being a disturbance to the other one or sending the other one in a tailspin because our vehicle was losing control. In other words, we were forced because we couldn't stand what it caused the other one, much less the discomfort of ourselves. We were forced to maintain next level mind type control all the time. Now, the reason we bring that up is because it's very easy for you, even though sometimes you don't do it when we're with you. But it's easier for you when we're with you in a meeting for an hour and a half, 2 hours, there were so many days. It's easy to have your best mind on it during that time. It's like, because it's kind of a period time. It's kind of, even makes you feel good to have that best time. It's like the feeling that humans get when they go to church. They go to church and it feels real good. And then, oh boy, do they believe in the things that the preacher preached. And they really want to do them. And they say they want to do them, and they're really going to do them. And but they do, at varying degrees, very little of what is happening. And of course, he doesn't require much of it. The human preacher or priest that they go to. Now, it's almost that you don't recognize in your conscious mind that it has to be sustained. When you make a commitment to an older member, that older member should not be able to cause you any moment during any period of time when you would not be in the same committal frame of mind that you are when you have a prior notice of the older members coming to visit with you. And then you prepare and get rid of all the things that are put on a good face. I'm ready for church again. Here comes the older member. You've got to know that the vehicle will continue to do that if you let it get away with it. In other words, you're still ignorant to some of the characteristics, or you're not wise to some of the con games of the vehicle that still will do things. In other words, T and I don't run off to the closet occasionally to get rid of the hostilities that the vehicles would feel because of the task requirements of the task. Do you follow that? If there were moments long time ago when we felt like we had to run off and get to the closet in order to get rid of those things, we quickly had to get past that period, or we were still very, very two-faced. Our schizophrenia was showing, and the bad side of the schizophrenia was almost stronger than the good side. Now, even though you feel maybe that you've come a long way in your change and in the degree of your control of your vehicle, and now you've even recognized that the next level mind like some of the vibrations of the system. We feel like we're on the piano roll at a point where this cannot be tolerated. It's like an unconscious way of saying to things. Really, I know it's like saying to us, don't you know that I love the next level? I love the next level with all my heart. And I don't want anything else. The world out there doesn't appeal to me at all. But these little things that my vehicle still keeps getting away with, I can't do anything about it. It's just, but I'm getting better. I'm getting better at it, and I want to get better at it. And you believe it. But at that rate of development, we either have to think in terms that we find it impossible to think. We either have to think, poor so-and-so can't do it. And so we have to just be permissive of a very, very slow rate of growth. Now, we don't believe, when we are really honest with ourselves, we don't believe the next level sent one to do this task who couldn't do it. And the task requires control sufficient of the vehicle not give in to the vehicle and human ways. Now, there was a time when, out of our love for you, believe it or not, we didn't even want to let somebody leave their gas. Because we loved them more than even when they seemingly hated us. We loved them so much we didn't want to see them throw their tank away. Now it's switched to where your committal has to prove itself enough that you must be prepared for the fact that we may get instruction to say, so-and-so, so-and-so, we'll try to help you go somewhere and wait until we leave together, because we're just not moving fast enough, and you're dragging your feet.
You've got to realize that you have a task, and your task is more important at this time than ever, even though it has always been important. But we've got to get this going. Now, if you're not capable of doing your task, then, like Joe said, we may be given instructions to take the task away from you and give it to somebody else.
Which is no different than taking task away from people that realize that they aren't ready for it.
Now, we don't have instructions to do that right now. We have instructions right now for you all to get this committal going again. Because the ray has never left you. We told you it had, but it didn't leave you. It was still around you. We told you it was.
Well, we told you could revitalize it.
Right. And yet for you to believe that it was gone, because the way we said it, meant that you were not sincere when you wrote your committal.
Right. Your
In
commitment
other words, it was just a lie. You only wrote it because you were caught up in the excitement of it all. And we say, if you don't love us, don't tell us about it.
And don't tell us about it because you love us at the moment,
Right.
but you can't hang on to it.
But if I tell you that I care about you more than anything, I mean it. And you can do, as long as you do not stand up and curse the next lesson, I will take anything from you. And I will try to help you in every way that I can, because that is doing my task. Now, if you love us, then do your task. And do it 100%. Make up your mind to do it right now and prove to us that what you wrote on that paper to us, you meant it. It's as simple as that. Show us. Don't talk about it. Show us.
We are getting instruction to tell you that we might get instruction. That might include taking some off the task if they just can't muster up the energy or the effort it takes to demonstrate more control. Because it is the control that does the work, both for your vehicle and for the task of the work. It is the exercise, constant control that does it. And you are capable of it. And we are not building you up or flattering you. We know that you are capable of doing it. Now, your vehicle can say, is this a threat? If you want to listen to the vehicle, then it might call it that. We're not threatening you. We're just saying we have instruction to give to you that we have received that says you must be consistent with what you have said you believe and feel toward the next level and toward the two members of the next level that are with you, working with you. And that you can hang on to it. It's so funny when she said the New Testament says, you know, when you read it, that's all it's about. Is if you love it, it has to be there. You can't say I do. You've got to perform it. You've got to do it. It has to be consistent.
Now, when you're to be consistent, it means to do it under all obstacles. Now, quite a few of you have come down with colds. And how did you handle that cold? Did you handle it as a member of the next level? Or did you handle it as a human? You question yourself. Because if you felt like you had to do this, that was not instruction to do it, then you handled it the way a human would do it. If you made up your own little rules, fell asleep in the chair, or took extra rest because you felt like the vehicle needed it because it had a cold, or whatever other thing that your vehicle could have designed for you, then you are listening to the vehicle, and you were tested, and you voted. And you should be aware that your vehicle can do that. And therefore, you want to build up enough ammunition in that direction so that when it comes on again, you'll be able to handle it as a member of the next level. This vehicle has had sniffles and sinus trouble as long as I have been on this task. You all know that I've been stopped up so that I could hardly breathe.
Tell them any other way.
But it didn't stop me from doing my task. I learned to live with it. I did not think I was going to die. I did not think I needed any extra attention. All I did need was some cleaning, which was either that or some kind of tissue that would catch the liquid. But the point I'm getting at is, if it's an obstacle that comes your way, then face it. Doctor it. Take care of the vehicle. But don't give into it and make it seem like it's a big production. Now, if you do feel weak, then, like, I do know there have been times when this vehicle has felt weak, and I have sat down, or I have rested for a few minutes, and felt better afterwards. But, which is perfectly okay to do. But when you do it, you write a note saying, my vehicle, because of the cold, I tried to do this and that, and nothing seemed to make me feel any better, so I rested for a few minutes, and I felt better afterwards. But you don't need to go down for 30 or 40 or 60 minutes. Not that any of you have done that, I'm not saying you have, but I'm trying to make you understand how the vehicle can con you to believe that you need all this extra stuff because you have a cold. And you don't want to abuse your vehicle. First, if our technique had been good, only one person would have come down with the cold. So what you want to do is be aware that a cold can come down with the cold anytime and create all of our lab tools as though everyone is contaminated. And if you do that, we won't spread that. Now, the ones of you who need extra work, no, the ones of you who are really trying to do good, which is all 35 of you, you will be faced with tests. Some of you will have tests from links, some of you will have tests from each other, or some of you will have tests that your autocraft has. And how you handle those tests, those tests, is what's important. guard.
I'm sorry, I thought you were.
In other words, what you want to do is to be on guard at all times. And if somebody comes right before you're going down and gives you something, say, from legal, we want it to be like a neon light going on, or red light going off in your brain. Saying, here's the test. How am I going to handle it? But if you have a poor response, you go down, you get up the next day, and you thought about it, and then you try to correct it, you really didn't pass the test. Now this is what you want to stop. If your vehicle wants to overindulge, go over the norm on things, and you go over the norm and then write a note to think about it, you have flunked the test. You have not done your task, because your task is to keep that vehicle under control, and it is the vehicle that is acting up. It isn't your next level mind. Can you understand that? Now these are the ways that you're not doing your task. If you cannot do it, there are some of you in this class who can do it. And we want the ones who really want to do it to take these tasks and do it so we can get out of here. The next level, I'm sure, gets very tired of hearing me say, please, can't we get out of here? Can't we bring this task to a close? And in my ignorance, I hesitate. And the next level is thinking, well, sure, you can go anytime, as soon as your task is completed. We're waiting on you, so to speak. So if you want to get out of here, if you're tired of doing this task in the right way, then do something about it. Get busy. Do the task. Make up your mind you're going to do it, and stop fudging. Stop playing around. This is no game. You're in the big time right now. Bigger than anything. And it is a game that has to happen. I mean, a task that has to happen. And you shouldn't want to give it up. Not after all this time. Don't make us take it away from us. We don't want to take it away from us. But you cannot sit in here and expect it to happen with no effort from you. Get fighting. Be determined and say, I'm going to show the next level I can do it. I must stop doing crazy things that this vehicle wants to do. And do it. Even the best can improve. I mean, some little bitty things on up to the mountainous things.
Sometimes we know that when you're listening to us, that you want to have that fight, and we know that when you have enough next level mind in, we know that you can see the little things that you're dealing with as just silly. I mean, just really stupid, like insignificant. In fact, you wonder why it can be so important to you to do it. That how can you get so far from your next level consciousness to give in to those little things and to yield to those things when they certainly are doing what the consequence is of continuing to yield to them. When a human parent performs the task of teaching, and when they really have tried to teach the very best of their ability to their offspring, and they carry that teaching until they feel like they have given them what they had to teach them. And then, but after they have given them that, there comes a limit of how much they will permit those offsprings to stay in their house and to not abide by the rules. And it's not that they don't love those offspring, and it's not that they wouldn't suffer horribly to have to say, I'm sorry, but you're of age now, and if you're going to live in my house, you have to live by the rules. And that's the way it is in the next level. That's the way it is right here in the next level. You're of the next level. We're of the next level. We're older members to you. You are like offspring, in a sense, to us, because you are younger members. And we are like parents to you, in a sense, in a parallel. And we feel like we have taught you these things, and they aren't that impossible to do. And that we have tolerated your slowness to do them to beyond needing to continue to tolerate it. Now, for your sake, needing to continue this, not for our sake. It's not like we can't stand those things. It's true, we can't stand them. But it's not, the point is that the household as a unit has growth to do, has movement to do, has to get on with greater development to still be piddling with some of the things that we're piddling with in our school that are holding us back. Now, if you use this meeting as an excuse for copping out on your test, you are really going to experience embarrassment and shame when you get back to the next level. If you use the information we have given you tonight as an excuse to cop out, now what I mean by that is if you say, well, I can see that they're talking about me, and I know that I'll make that committal, but I know that I'll probably still continue to do these things, and therefore, if the house doesn't have room for me, then I guess before I get asked to leave, I'll leave because I don't want to get asked to leave in case the next level should give us those instructions. If you can listen to kind of thoughts like that, there's an indication right there of why you're still dealing with those things. And it's not too late to stop listening to thoughts like that. Some of you still let oceans of negative possibilities come into your head before you decide, oh my goodness, that must be a negative. I'll stop listening to that. And when it could have been a little cut on your finger instead of a hole in your side that you have to mend because you have permitted so much negativity to come into your head. Not even recognizing it was negative until you were going around with your chin dragging on the ground because it depressed you so after having listened to all those negatives. Your sensitivity has to improve. Now, when your sensitivity improves, it's just like, let's take consuming for example. If I'm consuming more than my vehicle really needs, then as it enters my mouth, the computer's going off and saying, this doesn't even taste good anymore. I'm not going to accept it on just the shoveling in thing. I recognize that this single bite is probably a bite past, or maybe 2 bites past what the vehicle needed. And darn it took me 2 bites past to recognize that the vehicle needed. Now, and so you stop at that point. Now, that can apply to everything. That can apply to when your vibrations are beginning to lower in any other area, when you feel that anxiety coming on, or you feel the vehicle's tendency to want to lash out at someone or to give in to a weakness, you can, if your sensitivity is there, you will feel it before it gets anywhere close to coming
taking in enough to give into. And in other words, you shouldn't wake up after the fact like a drunk does and say, I was so drunk I didn't know what I was doing. Because to us, you in a sense, you had to be drunk to have permitted yourself to go through the act and then regret it. In other words, you had to be unconscious. You had to permit a degree of unconsciousness because you still want to cling to these little old sensory things, almost as if you're, it's like I'm not going to be down here very long and I can't, these things aren't going to be available to me when I get back in the next level. So maybe just one more little taste of that degree of sensing those things, no matter what the area is. Now, that's not what goes through your head. We're not saying that's what goes through your head. But it's as if that's what you're feeling. Because we're holding the next level, we're holding your next level mind responsible for what your vehicle desires. We're holding it thoroughly responsible for what your vehicle desires. We're asking you to keep enough next level consciousness in to recognize the symptoms of weakness before you stumble. And we don't feel that that's asking too much of you too soon. We, believe it or not, when we have proven solid in this, class will be over. If class isn't over, then there might be something that we really can enjoy doing as the next move before class is over. It doesn't really matter, but we're in a standstill, still clinging to these little annoying weaknesses that pull us down. Each time, don't forget, each time one of you lets those things occur because of the lack of your sensitivity, and you give into it and actually let it happen, no matter what it is, it cannot happen without affecting the others in your craft and without directly affecting your teachers. And therefore, and it's not that we're saying we don't like it, even though we don't. We're saying that since it does affect us and affect you and affect your classmates, for the period of it affecting them, we're all pulled back momentarily or held from moving forward. Because we have to then put a Band-Aid on it and recover from it and then move ahead. So I really feel, and I know that he does too, that if you would in your bunk spend more time, or in your thoughts when you're at your autocraft task, or when you're riding in a vehicle, or when you're sitting here, if you have a magazine in your hand, your thoughts should still be, you should learn to always be having this kind of thought going on in your head. I am not going to find myself in dark corners. I am not going to let myself get to spots where I am vulnerable. I want to be able to have my spine strong and tall, knowing and approving my committal to older members that I can sustain what I said I felt for them. Because I know that if I said it, and yet my actions in between the times I say it don't prove it, because I do things against their teaching, then I am not truthful. I am just wishful instead of actually being truthful.
An incident happened about a week ago with one of your classmates. And the individual felt like, which the individual wanted to, in the process of talking to me. And it literally made that individual sick. And we knew it made them sick. And it took that
He's saying that the moment the individual recognized what had occurred, and it's not something that had occurred with any frequency. You follow what we're saying? But the moment the individual realized what had actually occurred, it made them sick to something. And they couldn't say to the older member enough, I can't believe this happened. And it's not going to happen. And we could feel the depth of feeling there and knew that was love for next level ways and older members. Now, if that comes easy, if those words come easy and they have no depth and the act is repetition, then it has no significance. You follow what we're saying? And every one of you are capable of that kind of depth. Now, you will not be capable of that kind of depth if you continue to permit repetition giving in of things. As long as you, because it doesn't grow. It's like when that moment of temptation comes to you, it's what happens in you that resists at the most tempting moment. That's what gives you depth. And if the resistance isn't there, the depth does not develop.
Understand? Now, none of you are in a condition or a position right now where you cannot do your task. There's not a single individual sitting here who cannot do their task. But we don't know how long that will last. In other words, it depends upon you on how well you want to do your task. You're getting payment for doing your task. The next level is giving you a new body, a new chance to enter their world. And why scoop up? Why throw it away? This is what you have been working for all from the very beginning when you were just a second third. If that's the way it has to be. But the point I'm getting at is don't throw it away because of some dumb vehicle.
Or for just not being awake when the vehicle wanted to get away with it.
Because the vehicle is going to not easily, what the vehicle is feeling isn't even going to exist after you get into your vehicle. So
Not even
why
going to be a
live
place
this
for it. Not even going to be a place for it. That's a good point. If you could get that in your head well enough, it would give you some better ammunition. You know, I can feel the force and the potency of what we are giving you tonight. And we're pleading with you not to just throw it away. For your sake, we're pleading with you to just not throw it away.
You know, the next level really played a trick on me a couple of weeks ago. And they played it on that level when they told us that Ray had left. They turned it off.
I certainly feel it now.
But the Ray was not turned off. But I'm sure the psychological thing of it all was, I mean, it's strictly a psychological game. I can see it now. That we said that because then if the committal had been sincere, you would have continued to feel that love that you were giving, whether the Ray was there or not. So we told you the Ray had been turned off because that's what they told us to say to you. And we felt like it was right.
But we also said you could generate it.
That's right.
Yeah, I wish that you could catch, I wish the contagion of that generation was as good as your cold. I wish that, because believe it or not, it can be contagious. In other words, it would almost isolate ones who refuse to sustain it. If the ones who sustained it so strongly that the others really felt out of place. And they would say, now, wait a minute, something is wrong here. And just because I feel out of place, does that mean I'm going to go out of place? Or does it mean I'm going to get in step? And you should be able to know how good it feels when you begin to build some of that. And it feels good. It isn't easy. The task isn't easy. But it's really rewarding. You didn't, nobody misled you when you came to think it was easy. In other words, they didn't cheat on you there. Say that you were going to go for a joyride that turned out to be a hard task. I think you even knew. I know it was in the consciousness of your next level mind. You certainly knew how difficult the task. If you had not known, you would not have stayed when the first difficulty arose. Much less the second and the third and the fourth. Now, what about this one? Because this one's where we are. And this is the most difficult of all.
This is going to do your task. This is going to accomplish what needs to be accomplished for your next level mind. So don't throw it away. It's important. It can't be taken lightly. Because it's very, very serious. We hope that we won't ever have to take a day away from it. Not as this. Not as this. Do you have any questions about it? Do y'all want to do it? You didn't answer what I said. What I would start doing, if you'd like a little tip, I'd get back into that ray. I'd get back and grab hold of it.
Take it with you into the shadow.
That's right. Hang on to it. And know that that ray is right there for you. And conquer this crazy vision, these crazy visions. All the little dark corners, and be prepared for every obstacle that comes your way. I know the cold has weakened some of you, which they should not have done. No excuse to be weak because you've had a cold. You just don't, because all of those things that come your way in that way or just tests to see how you can handle it. So get strong, get hold of the ray, and do your task. That's all we can do. It's just take a while.
It wouldn't hurt all of you to actually write down and read it every day. Your little, don't be afraid to actually seek out, because your vehicle is not going to like for you to seek out the little places of where your weaknesses are. And write them down, whether it's in my bunk when I'm alone, or it's always between 10:30 and 11:30 p.m. after I've gone to sleep for maybe an hour and awakened, or when it's whatever it is, you find the hour, the circumstance, the place, and then devise a strategy to not be weak at those moments. It'll be a lot easier for you. Now, you can't, it does not work, unfortunately. It maybe helps momentarily psychologically. Let's say that if a certain VC caused you problems, I'm just using it as an example, and you say, well, if I could change VC, everything would be better. It'd be true, a day or two. It would help you psychologically for a day or two. But exactly the same vibrations that caused you difficulty in BC1 are going to arrive in BC2. And next level is going to even see to it, for your sake, that those circumstances.
That it's a test for you all. That's all I'm going to say. We'll see if you all pass it.